In today's video, we are going to do the explanation of lesson number 2.5 book review of Swami and Friends, which is written by R.K. Narayan. Okay, so in today's lesson, we are going to talk about actually the novel Swami and Friends, which is written by R.K. Narayan, and the book review of this lesson. So before actually beginning the lesson, let me introduce you with what is a book review. Book review, what does it mean actually? Book review includes name of the book, name of the author, the person who has written the book, and what is the name of the book that you have to specify. Also, you write the plot in short. Plot in the sense you have to write only the outline of the story. Then your experience, like while reading the book, if you have liked any particular scene or if you have unliked any particular scene, so this experience you can share here. Also, you write your opinion whether you liked the book or you did not. And the last is that you recommend the book. You suggest the book to other readers whether it is worth reading or not, or how many stars can you give to this particular book. So, here let us start with the lesson a book review of Swami and Friends. Here, a little bit about the book. As I told you, it talks about the story. Anything I mention about the book can be mistakenly understood as spoilers. Now, here, spoilers means what? You all know spoiler means the one who spoils your mood, who upsets you. But here, spoiler is not something like that. It is little different. It is a type of comment that discloses the ending of a story. So, spoiler means the author wants to tell you that he doesn't want to prove to be a spoiler so that he does not spoil your mood by disclosing the end, the secret of the story. So, I would rather give a glance, quick read. Glance means what? It is a quick read. He is going to tell you the story, the plot in short, into the book without mentioning any events or plots of the story. So, here the writer is not going to tell you any events or any scenes, plots of the story, but in short, the outline of the story he is going to tell you. Next, Swami is a mischievous kid, little kid, about 10 years old, and is living in the era. Era means what? A period of time, particular period of time where India was under the British rule. You all know that before 150 to 100 and almost in the Britishers, they have ruled India for more than 100 years, right, in India. So here, this is the time when the British were ruling over India. That period is covered during in this particular novel. Like most kids of that age, like most kid of that means like of Swami, that is 10 years old, Swami is a kid who cannot stay at one place and absolutely hates school, even worse, mathematics. So that means how other kids of 10 years, what usually they do, they don't like to sit in one place. They're always up to some mischief. They're always up to some planning. They don't want to sit in one place. They just want to play, roam here and there, wander aimlessly. So this boy, Swami, is not different than these boys. And the one more thing special given here is he hates the school. He doesn't like to go to school. And the important is he hates mathematics the worst. Among all the subjects, he hates mathematics. Then school is his absolute nightmare. Now, what is nightmare? Something you are scared of, very frightening experience. So, school is an absolute nightmare for him, a very frightening experience for him. Anyway, the story unfolds around the happenings of this kid and how he constantly gets into trouble and gets a good beating from his father. So, the story actually revolves around this protagonist. What do you mean by protagonist? Is the main character of any story. So here Swami, who is the protagonist of the story revolves around this boy. What happens with him? What does he do full day, 24 hours? It is given in the story. And when whatever he does, see, whatever he happens with him, he constantly gets into trouble. He's always in some or the other trouble, and because of this, his father used to give him quite good beatings. Swami is a talkative little kid. He's very talkative, he cannot keep quiet, and he thinks that's his way of facing life, talking himself out of everything. So he doesn't listen to anybody else, he doesn't want to follow others. He wants to live his own life by his own rules. But he does learn the truth the harsh way. But what the life is, what actually the life is, he learns by harsh way. Like truth of the lives, he learns many things about his life, because the era, the time that is covered, encompassed in this story is, India's, when India was under British rule. So that time, how the people, how the Indians suffered actually, that is portrayed, that is described in this particular novel. So in this story, this 10-year-old boy, Swami, actually, though he is very playful, he is very naughty, he is 10 years, hardly small kid, but still he learns the truth of life in harsh way, because he sees what happens around him. Then further, as many teens back then, all he wants to do is play under the sun, just like other teens. Teens young means other teenager boys. Just like other boys, when he grows up, he wants to do the things that other boys commonly do, like to play under the sun, to play in the sun, kick something, climb a tree, break something, and harass others. That means to trouble others, which today's people, unlike kids today, because unlike kids today means not like today's kids, because you must have seen today's children, they don't want to play in the sun, they don't want to climb the tree, they just want to sit in their rooms, watch mobiles, play games, or watch television or laptop computers like this. So it is given here that Swami or other kids of that era, they are unlike today's kids, they are different from today's kids. This, in fact, was the life of a typical boy growing up. So, this was the real life of children growing in that time. Okay. So, here, not only in, it was not only Swami, but in most part of India, you would have found that this life or this type of boys, this type of typical boys, you must have definitely seen around. Technology isn't big in a kid's life. So, here the writer wants to tell us through this novel, he wants to give us a message that technology is not a very big thing in a kid's life. All they want is to play havoc. They just want to cause damage. They want to trouble others, and they want to break something or the other. They just want to cause a damage. Right? To play havoc means to cause damage. Next, in what ways is Swami a typical boy in his growing years? So, here the question is asked to you. Can you tell us, can the readers tell the author that how Swami is actually a typical boy? How you can call that, yes, he is a typical boy? Yes, it is given. Like he wants to climb the trees, he wants to play in the sun. These all things tell us that Swami is a typical boy of his growing age. But in this regard, the author, that is R.K. Narayan, he also gets deeply into the working of Swami's 10-year-old mind. So, what is happening actually inside him, within him, in his mind, in the mind of Swami, explaining exquisitely. The author is able to explain it very lively, in pleasant manner, how he thinks and what his perspective of the world is. Perspective of the world means how Swami sees the world. What is his point of view about the world, right? So whatever Swami thinks, actually, it is given here. So his actions tell us that how Swami is actually a typical boy. But the author also tells us through his mind, through the mind of this 10-year-old boy, that what he thinks, what is his perspective about the world is. Then the reader does feel like Swami and gets very attached with the character as the story progresses. So when actually you read the story, Swami and his friends, what happens is you actually get along with this boy. You get attached. You find that yes, this is not the character of the story. This is just another boy who lives next door you, right? And this is what the writer wants to tell us, that when you read the story, you immediately, like while progressing, when the story is progressing, when the story is moving further, time is moving on, that time you find that you are getting closer to the right, to the Swami, to the character, main character, that is Swami here. And that's the magic of Narayan, and this is the magic of R.K. Narayan's writing. He writes in such a simple manner, in such a beautiful way, that the readers get indulged, they get involved in the character. Significance of the books. Then what is the importance of this book? Swami and Friends, which is written by R.K. Narayan, is not merely an interesting read. So when you will read the novel, the writer wants to suggest that it is not only for interesting reading. Yes, it is actually, but it is not only, it is not merely for interesting read that could be enjoyed from top to bottom. But yes, when you read the book, you will find that the work attributes a lot of literary values, even if it is a teen book, though the book is meant for students, though the book is meant for teenager children, boys and girls. You find that there are many literary values which attribute to the language. Then Swami and Friends is good read for the kids and teens alike. So here it is also said that this book is meant for small boys and girls, students of English. And this book is a very good read for all those kids and teens who are interested, who like to read English. Also, the book is widely used in the Asian continent as a story or as a study text for the students who study literature as a subject of schools. So here the writer also wants to tell us that this book is not only meant for interesting read, but it is also used for literature studies. The students who are learning literature, English literature, especially in Asian continent, this book is prescribed for literature studies. This doesn't mean that the book is filled with heavy grammar and technical jargon. So you might say that the book is suggested for literature students. That means definitely the book must have very heavy grammar and technical jargon. Of course not. It is not so. There is no technical jargon. Technical jargon means what? Professional language. Okay, the language which talks about particular profession, which is very difficult to understand by common readers. But no, it is not so. In the contrary, actually the truth is what? It is in the contrary to this. Okay, the reality is something different. Swami and Friends is written in such a simple English, it is hard to imagine that it is a work of such a great a literary genius like R.K. Narayan. So when you will read this book, when you will actually read this novel, you will find out that really that book is written in such simple English that any English learner can understand this. And another thing is that R.K. Narayan was such a great writer that when you read the book, you understand, you will be surprised to see that R.K. Narayan, a such great genius person, literary person, has written the novel in so simple language. The English used in the book is both plain and simple, without any troubling words for the kids. So the book is meant for kids. Accordingly, R.K. Narayan has used the language without any troubling words so that all readers, all kids can understand the language of this novel. Then further, also the use of simple and short sentences adds to the simplicity of the book. Of course, the language is already simple, plus the sentences are not very lengthy. In fact, they are very simple and very short. So that when you read the book, these short and simple sentences help you to understand the content of the novel. Then it is mentioned in the description that the book is about a mischievous 10-year-old Indian boy, and some parents may be concerned about the influence he will have on their already mischievous children. Yes, it is thought, it is also said that the main hero, the hero of the novel, that is the protagonist, Swami of this novel, he is a 10-year-old boy and he is very, very naughty. So, when our children, many parents think this, that when our children will read such novel in English, what will be the influence, what will be the effect, what will be the impact of this novel on their already mischievous children, the children who are already naughty, right? So how this boy, Swami, will have the impact will be there on these children. But the book is such that it encompasses the mischief of the kids in a view of the kid which is harmless and pure in his perspective. So, here, when you read the book, you will understand the mischief means the naughtiness of this boy is so harmless and pure that it is not meant to harm anybody, and it is not having any vulgar, or you can say some impure activities, right? So it encompasses means it includes the mischief of Swami, of course, but his mischief is very harmless and pure in his perspective. Also, amidst all the mischief and naughtiness, we actually find that Swami is a loving and a tender kid who is actually very sensitive. And one more fact is revealed, is disclosed in this novel, that the mischief and monotonous, it tells you this boy is very naughty. Swami is very naughty actually. But yes, he is having a tender heart, he is having a loving heart who understands others' feeling. He is very sensitive. Sensitive means what? Understanding feelings of others, right? So this boy, though he is very naughty, but he understands others' feelings. Then further, it is also known fact that the mischievous kids are the most sensitive and loving people of all. Yes, this fact is revealed by R.K. Narayan in this story. He has done a great job in conveying this message to all of us. He has been able to convey this message. What is the message? That these naughty, such naughty kids, they are very sensitive, they understand others' feelings. Also, these are the most loving people of all. They love others wholeheartedly. So, in conclusion, conclusion means in finally, what do we come to know about? It can be said that this book is a good read for children of all ages. So, finally, we can have this conclusion that this book is suitable for all the readers of all ages who may just enjoy a good read or who may want to improve their English skills. So, if you want to improve your English skills, or if you want to just read, you just want to have an interesting reading book, then you can definitely go for Swami and his friends. About the author. Now let us read in short about the author. The author of Swami and Friends is India's one of the greatest authors of all time, R.K. Narayan. The writer R.K. Narayan is really, he is known as one of the greatest authors of India of all the time. R.K. Narayan is responsible for many of the outstanding literary works India has ever produced. Yes, R.K. Narayan is one of the responsible writers who created a platform for Indian writing in front of the world in English literature. Okay, then if we read about his writing, see, this book is in particular captures the essence, that is the important quality of something, of India under British ruling and the mind and life of a typical teenage kid, right? So in this book we come to know about the time, the era, how India suffered during British ruling, the essence, and means that is given in this novel, plus how a typical teenager kid's life got affected, how a playful child, he was impacted, he was affected by this particular British rule in India. This is what is described in this novel. And if we talk about his other work, the other great works by R.K. Narayan include Malgudi Days, The Guide, and The Painter of Science. These are his some important books. Then further, and many more literary works. He also has written many other things. One of them is the Ramayana. It is a shortened modern prose version of Indian epic. Now, what is an epic? It is actually a long poem about great actions of men and women. So you all know this, that how in history, you must have read history of Maharashtra or even in India's history. We have learned the great actions of men and women. Who fought for the freedom. So here it is given. Epic means what? It is actually a kind of long poem that depicts, that describes the actions of such great men and women. One more is Mahabharata. It is also a shortened modern prose version of the Indian epic. So if you go through, these are only a few names given in this lesson, but if you go for R.K. Narayan's book, other work, you will definitely find out that his work is definitely interesting, and also it is helpful to improve your English language. I hope you have understood the lesson. Thank you very much for watching this. Have a good day.